Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you're here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You're knowing what you are wanting? Sort of. It really is co-creation at its best. You are so much more than you know. You see yourselves in these individual clumps, sitting on chairs, but you are extensions of so much more, and the whole of you is present everywhere you go. You were source energy before you came into these physical bodies, and the larger part of you still is. You are an extension of that, a representation of that, a very important representation of that. And sometimes you are so blended that the whole of you is present in a conversation, in a moment, in a thought, in an idea. Sometimes, in fact, more often than not, in your human form, you do, without meaning to, a fairly extensive job of pinching yourself off from who you really are. Anytime you are feeling any negative emotion, no matter how mild or extreme it is, that negative emotion is the indication of the pinching offedness. Spell check does not like Abraham very much. So when you realize that you are an extension of source energy, and the better you feel, the more you are allowing the whole of you in the moment, after a little while, that could be a very easy to recognize and easier than you may know right now goal to accomplish, because it is not a difficult thing to be fully present. Scientists are talking a lot, especially these days, about how much of your consciousness, they're calling it brain, you are actually utilizing, and they've determined that it's not that much. And we want you to understand that your brain is not a storage cabinet. It's not where your experiences have been stored. You are a transmitting and receiving mechanism. You are a vibrational interpreter, and your consciousness is about vibration. So when you focus yourself on some subject, on some condition, on some reality, on something that is important to you, as you give your attention to it, you offer a vibration, whether you call it thought or energy or belief. It's all vibration. It's all what you are doing with your focusing mechanism here and now. And the only thing that you ever need to hear or understand or practice, the only thing that matters in order for you to fulfill your reason for being and to live happily ever after, you got to understand the relationship between the non-physical vibration that is you, that is always vibrating, and you in your physical form. In other words, it's the matching or the mismatching of the vibrational frequencies of these two important perspectives that equal you. If you were really tuned in to who you are, there would be one frequency. It's the frequency of who you are, not a frequency of wanted and belief. When you want something that you doubt, you've got two frequencies going on. And the reason that you have two frequencies going on is because in the moment you identify something as a desire, the larger part of you becomes fixated on that desire. So when the larger part of you is focused upon what you want, but you are in any moment in time focused upon its absence or its unlikelihoodness, playing with Esther because she was editing something yesterday, and she said to us on more than one occasion, Abraham, you've got to stop making up words. And we said to her, you're the one drawing the dirty pictures. That's an old joke that Esther and Jerry told each other almost every day. Esther is the one who finds the words, and she's reaching for the word that really means what we mean. And sometimes it's necessary to add extra syllables on words to really make the point. So when you get it, that you are an extension of source, and that in every moment you have a relationship with that source, then life becomes easier because your guidance becomes clearer. And when your guidance is clear, and we want to be very clear about what that guidance is about. It's not about someone thinking you should do something different or that you should be something different. It's about you having defined who you want to be, and the guidance within you just helping you feel the path of most allowance, which is the same thing as the path of least resistance to that. You're sort of following what we're getting at? You are the one who has sifted through life, who has defined who you really are and what you really want. And then the source within you is just holding that frequency steady so that you can feel your way to it. Esther remembers playing a game as a child, and then later with her own grandchildren, the hot and cold game, where someone hides something, and then they tell you whether you're warmer or colder in relationship to it. And if the person who hid it knows where it is, and usually they remember, and is letting you know what your physical proximity to it is by the simple warmer, colder, with very little trouble, you can find your way right to it. And your own guidance system functions in precisely the same way. The source within you knows who you have become and knows everything that you desire, and also knows your physical proximity to it. But even more important than your physical proximity to it, we want you to focus upon your vibrational proximity to it, because until you get your vibrational proximity sorted out, you cannot physically realize the things that you want. If you want something that you doubt, your vibrational proximity is all out of whack, because you are emitting a signal that keeps you from realizing where what you want is or how to go about it. So, for a while, we were calling this gathering the science of deliberate creation. Science because it's ongoing and you get better and better at the discovery of it. And because once you discover something and you establish that solid basis within you, it provides the next jumping off place for more and more and more and more and more. Deliberate because you want to be deliberate about what you're thinking about. Creating by default is no fun at all. If you're just talking to anybody who talks to you and flowing your vibration all over the place and thinking about what you want in the absence of it and talking about the good and the bad and the things that you want and the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, then you've got your vibration all jacked up. Esther's new term. Not new to you, new to her. So when your vibration is all out of whack like that, then you have no reasonable control over how your life is unfolding, and you have a rough ride. So we want you to understand that through your life you have defined, even without words often, at every level of your being, improvements. You were born to do that. You came into this physical time-space reality with a very clear intention of sifting through in order to determine your personal preferences and improvements. And you do that all day, every day, whether you know that you are or not. When someone is rude, you want a nicer world. When you're rude, you want a nicer world. When you don't have enough of something you want more of it. When you've got something you don't want, you want an improvement in that situation. In other words, all day, every day, you are defining your desires. It's why we like to begin. Do you know what you are wanting? But that's only a small part of the equation, because defining it and being a vibrational match to it are two different things. And your words, no matter how much you say the words of what you want, the universe is not hearing your words. The universe is responding to your vibration. An easy way to understand that is the universe isn't listening to what you say you want. The universe is responding to your vibrational practice about it. So if you really want something, but you really doubt it, and the dominant vibration within you is, it's not working and I don't know how to make it work, and the feeling within you is one of being lost about it, the universe cannot deliver to you a path that's going to be an easy path to it, because you've got a frequency going on that is making it not possible for you to realize the path. Seth, you know about Seth? Seth told Rob and Jane, and Jerry and Esther, especially Jerry, devoured those books later on, that you create your own reality. Those were the words that Jane coined in response to what Seth was transmitting to her. You create your own reality. And today, we would like to say to you that Yes, indeed, you create your own reality. But there's a word that we would like to insert that will make it easier for you to understand. You create your perception of reality. You create your perspective of reality. You create your vibrational ability to see reality. You realize reality based upon what you are doing vibrationally. So, have you ever watched a documentary, or have you ever been in the experience yourself where you were an eyewitness to something that someone else was an eyewitness to? And since you were an eyewitness to it, you have a perspective of what happened. And as you explain your perspective, you're sure you're right because you saw what you saw. You perceived it. And then someone else explained what they saw, and what they saw was something different than what you saw. And you're sure they're lying because what you saw is very valid and real to you. If there is anything that we would like to present to you in a way and find enough analogies and examples to help you really get it, something that would serve you better than all other things put together that you will ever hear from us or anyone else, it would be that your perspective is uniquely yours. And if you could give up your determination to explain yourself in different ways to get other people to see it the way you see it, oh, life would begin being sweet for you right now. If you could just accept that everybody gets to create their version of reality, and that you will waste your life in trying to get them to accept your version. Because the life that they have lived and the vibration that they're offering is the reason that they see it as they see it. You can live in the same community and have two very different lives. And what most of you say is, well, of course we live different lives. That guy lives in a mansion and I don't. Of course his perspective is different than mine. That guy inherited money from his daddy and I didn't. Of course we have different perspectives. That person was born da 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 da. As you try to explain why you are not all living the same, you miss the only point that matters. You have different perceptions of reality over which you have complete control. But most humans do not exercise any control over your perception of reality because you're so busy dividing and defining and cataloging and pigeonholing reality into different piles and placing judgment upon it. Oh, that's a bad thing. Let's put all those bad things over there and those bad things over there, and they're different in their badness, but they're bad things. And as you spend that natural time defining whether you want it or not, you also, without meaning to, practice the vibrational frequency of the very things that you put in the bad piles. And then, because it's part of your vibration, it prevents you from discovering the good piles because your vibration's all wrapped up in what's in the bad piles. And then, we love you so much. You know what's coming next after that statement. And then, you look to something outside of you to make the difference. You look for someone else to fix it. It started with your mother or your father or someone up close to you. Please change this condition. There is a condition in my reality that I see that I don't like. And when I look at that condition, I feel bad. And I don't want to feel bad. That's the first thing you knew about yourself. You don't like feeling bad. So when you're looking at a condition and you feel bad, and you associate feeling bad with that condition, then of course it's logical, we get it, why you want that condition to change. But you are not the boss of those conditions. You are not the creator of someone else's reality. You cannot control the conditions. You are the creator of your own reality.